order to set up Become a King, you will have to divide the cards into these 5 piles. Starting with the S pile for starter, this will be your starter deck. You can take this and put it aside for a moment. You'll have the 4, 6, 8, and 2 kingdom cards. Now you'll have to prepare 2 piles. One of them will go above the force icon and the second one will go above the diplomacy icon. In order to do that, you will take the 2 kingdom cards, place them upside down, shuffle up the number 8 cards, remove 2 of them at random, put them aside, and then divide the piles, each of them, one by one, starting with the 8 pile, into 2. Yeah, so I'm going to shuffle the 6th pile, remove 2 cards, put them aside, and then place half of the deck over here and half of the deck over on this side. You will do the same with the 4 pile, of course. Removing 2 at random and placing 5 cards on top of the force and 5 cards on top of the diplomacy. Now you will shuffle your deck and reveal cards until you reveal a village card, for example, like this. Now this is a village card that gives you force. That means that you will place the rival token, the rival card, next to the force at the beginning of the game. The last thing you'll have to do is shuffle up the cards that you have in your starter deck, denoted with the letter S, put it next to you, and then draw 5 cards for your starting hand. Now you're ready to start playing. At any point of the game, you will have to have 4 revealed cards. So you will open up the force deck like so, and you will open the diplomacy deck like so. And you will interact almost entirely with the 2 cards at the bottom, and the 2 cards that are on the top are for your information, to know what's coming up next. Now, you will always have 4 cards revealed. That means that when a card is removed for any reason, you will have to replenish it. Now, what you'll do at the beginning of the game, you will draw 5 cards out of your starter deck, which is over here. You will draw 5 more cards at the end of every turn, but in order to start the game, you'll need to have cards. Now, what you'll do is you'll take a look at your cards, and you will see, let's take something more interesting, for example. You will see that you have a few types. You have baronies, you have villages, and you also have 1 county in your starter deck. Now, what you saw over here, if you draw only villages, you will just have to shuffle back and draw something that is other than a village for your starting hand. Now, in this game, you will choose 1 card as the lead. You will see that you have the word lead and follow over here at the bottom of the card. 1 card will be the lead. The lead will define a few things. It will define how many symbols you have, which is in here 2 force symbols, 2 force icons, and you will also be able to follow with 2 cards. That means that I can look at my hand, which is filled with villages, and I can follow with 2 villages. And as you can see, villages are pretty simple. The follow of every village is either 1 diplomacy or 1 strength. Now, if I want to gain a card, I need to have enough of the symbol that's above it. That means that in order to gain this barony, I will need to have 4 force icons. And as you can see, the lead already gave me 2, and I can use 2 more cards with their follow abilities. And so I will have 2 force icons from my lead and 2 more force icons from my follows. From my follow 2 cards, yeah? 2 cards of follow, 1 and 2, and I have 4. Now, when you gain a card, you will take this card, put it in your discard pile. Now, in a case where you have more symbols than what you need, let's assume that I had 5 force icons, and I only used 4 because the card I gained states that 4 icons are needed. So if I had 5 icons, for example, I had 1 left over, and a leftover force icon lets me, after gaining the card, remove a card that was in my hand, and I can trash it and remove it from the game completely. Now, if I had a leftover diplomacy icon, I could keep this card in my hand. Because what happens next after you choose whether or not to gain a card from over here, after choosing if you want to use any leftover force or diplomacy icons, is that you discard everything that was in your hand and everything that you used into your discard pile along with the card you gained, if you gained anything. And what you'll do next is you replenish, because you have to have 4 cards revealed at any given time. Now, after you do that, you will draw up to 5 cards. Okay? And when you do that, you're ready to start the next round. Now, something will happen after you don't have any more cards in your deck. You will create a rival. Now, at the beginning of the game, you will put the rival card randomly, either at the force side or the diplomacy side. Now, when you need to shuffle your deck, the card that is revealed in here at the end of the round, when you discard everything, you may also create a rival. So every time you shuffle the deck, you'll create a rival. Now, when you create a rival, you just put this card to the side, and you remember that this card counts toward the strength of the kingdom. Now, the kingdom will be defined by the number of rivals, except one thing. There are a few cards that have exceptions for that, that are called unrest. If you create a rival that is an unrest card, it goes into the rival pile, and that will count as 2 cards. That means that already the final fight for us will be 1 + 2. Now, always you need to replenish. Another type of card that is special is the advisor card. Now, this card will not go into your discard pile when you gain it, as well as the unrest card. The unrest card will be trashed instead of gained. I mean, if you gain it, that means it will be removed from the game, while the advisor card will just be put in front of you and let you have let you activate some action freely during your turn. For example, these 2 advisors give you once per turn, you can draw a card. So you just symbolize that you used it this turn, and you can draw a card and add it to your hand. After you create a rival, let's assume we created a rival out of this advisor, you will move the rival card to the other side. And of course, at all times, 4 cards need to be exposed over here. Now, you will do that, and you will move along your deck. You will shuffle your deck every time and create a rival every time you do so, until you reach the last card. Now, the numbers that you need in order to gain cards, at the beginning it's 4, and then you go up to 6, and then you go up to 8, which means your deck needs to improve with time. And then when you reach the final battle, your final fight against the kingdom, the fight in order to gain the kingdom, you will count all the rivals, remembering that the unrest card counts as 2, and you will have the opportunity to fight against the kingdom. When the kingdom moves over here underneath the force icon, it will be ready for conquering. Now, the kingdom does not go into the rival pile, but instead, if you create a rival out of the kingdom, you lose the game. But if you can have enough force icons, or if the kingdom was on this side, enough diplomacy icons in your hand before the kingdom becomes your rival, you become the king. Long live the king!